What's going on, boys? My name is Quinn, and today I want to do something a little bit differently, and that is to get a discussion going concerning a previous video I made. It was my first video I'd put together, and it offered what I considered to be the most useful, versatile, and efficient loadout you could make with the weapons that were available at launch. In hindsight, I realized that I titled it poorly. Calling it Far Cry 5's best loadout didn't convey the aims of the build, which were universality, effectiveness, and efficiency. I still believe it to be the best at these things if you leave out some of the weapons that have been added since then. A huge majority of the support this video got was amazingly positive, and I can't tell you how grateful and humbled I am by that. Of course, it got its fair share of the internet's toxic bullshit, but that was both inevitable and fairly insignificant. Because of my bad choice when naming the build, there were some who were upset that I didn't include some of their favorite weapons, none more so than the semi-automatic sniper, the SA-50. Now, this is a weapon that's featured across every gaming publication's list of suggestions for your kit, and is considered to be one of the strongest weapons in the game by many. I've used it a great deal since I made the first video, and I absolutely understand how powerful it is and why people like it, but I very strongly believe that it, and the other sniper rifles, have no business being included in an optimized, efficient build. This is going to be an opinion that a ton of people disagree with, and that's totally fine. I've reconsidered my position on the SA-50 as a general purpose weapon, and am well aware that it is both fun to use and perfectly serviceable if you're just looking to run whatever weapons you want to. My arguments in both the last video and this one are not designed to prevent you from using the SA-50, but instead to point out why it just doesn't fit in an optimized build. If you think I'm dead wrong about the reasoning I landed on, and the assumptions made from it, tell me about it using your own reasons, but not with toxicity, especially towards the other people in the comments who are just simply giving their own thoughts. I'm not here to tell you which weapons you can and cannot use. The obvious answer is that you should most certainly use whichever weapons you enjoy using. Far Cry 5 is not a tactical, skill-stealing shooter, and you could probably make your way through the game without firing a single weapon, just slapping fools with shovels or passing them a live hand grenade. 99% of the people who mentioned the desire to include the SA-50 understood this to be true and also how common courtesy works. However, an incredibly small but annoying minority seemed to be under the impression that they were just so monumentally skilled in the way they utilized the sniper rifles that all of the class's inherent shortcomings simply poof away into thin air. To them, I would say two things. First, I guarantee you that any of the people watching this video are perfectly capable of clearing an outpost using the SA-50. Because of its scoped options and damage, it has a basement level skill floor, not a high skill ceiling. And second, just because it has a low skill floor does not make it an efficient or particularly useful weapon when you consider that you only have 3 primary slots to work with and just how good some of the other weapons are. Sniper rifles have a reputation as a power class across the wide world of gaming for primarily 2 reasons. They are incredibly lethal across dramatic ranges, and their damage is often enough to kill with a single shot. Both of these reasons are either removed or diminished as advantages in Far Cry 5. There is never, not once a single time, an absolute need to kill further than 100 meters in the entire game, and there are certainly reasons why you shouldn't. Can you do it? Yes. Is it fun for you to do it? Sure, I could see that. Is it either necessary or practical? Nope. If that's the way you want to play the game, then do it. I'm not attacking you or your personal playstyle. It just isn't the most efficient way to go about things. One of the big things that I keep hearing is that the SA-50 can kill anything in a single body shot, except that that's not even true. It can do this with standard cultists and small game, sure, but even on the easiest difficulty available, the SA-50 takes 2 body shots to kill several enemies, and on the hardest difficulty it takes 3. This means that if your purpose for using the SA-50 is for its damage, then you will still have to shoot for headshots to take advantage of single shot kills. And if you're already aiming for headshots, other rifles can one-shot but with much better rates of fire, larger magazines, and ammo that cost a quarter of what 50 caliber rounds do. For example, the AK variants can drop everything short of heavies with a single shot to the head from the edge of its effective range. And if you need to quickly or stealthily dispatch a heavy, you have other options available to you. Another argument could be made that the SA-50 is the most appropriate tool for stealth, eliminating the need to be in dangerous range of detection. But under consideration, there are definitely better options. To drop a medium-sized outpost from a distance outside of detection, you will first have to pray that all enemies are outside any structures and in clear sight lines. Even if they are outside, chances are you're probably still going to need to do a wide rotation around the perimeter to ensure that they are all visible, which is going to needlessly prolong the encounter. Even worse is the price of 50 caliber rounds. They are immensely expensive, especially for players still building out their arsenal. And if you clear an outpost from sniping range, you're not going to be able to loot for extra currency before the bodies disappear. This is mitigated somewhat by receiving the undetected cash bonus for clearing without being seen, but this could have been accomplished much more quickly with a bow while also allowing you to loot. There are simply too many better options for the slot these rifles would take for this to be truly viable in an optimized kit, and this is compounded even further when considering that most of the game's content doesn't involve outposts, and a great deal of it is fought in areas that snipers are going to be of detriment as opposed to of value. When you consider these elements together, there isn't a meaningfully justifiable reason to give a primary slot to a sniper rifle, at least not in the context of assembling the most efficient or versatile loadout that you can. Because of the need for headshots from other rifles to reach the one-shot threshold, I can see where people might say that using the SA-50 may be easier, and this may be true. If time and currency aren't important to you, and you want to change your loadout from time to time, then the SA-50 may make certain tasks easier, albeit longer and more expensive. It's entirely likely that I spoke too harshly about sniping in my first video. They are perfectly capable of dishing out some serious hurt, and I spoke in general terms that didn't apply to each of them specifically, and maybe that was unfair. Like I said earlier, if you enjoy playing with them, then do so, and have as much fun as you possibly can. That is the point here after all. On reflection, it seems like my qualms are not necessarily directly related to the SA-50, but more so about the inefficiency of fighting from these increased ranges, in that the sniper rifles take the hit as a result because they are the only weapons for which this is applicable. I wish that they would patch the game so as to make the sniper a more valuable option, but I'm not sure how they could do that without damaging other weapons in the process. A blanket increase towards time to kill and enemy health or a damage reduction across the board would absolutely make these weapons stronger contenders, but at the cost of causing players to feel underwhelming and weak, which isn't something people want in a Far Cry game. As it stands, the current state of sniping in Far Cry 5 is that it has been sacrificed on the altar of accessibility and variety, and while that's bad for the weapon class, I'm not so sure that it's bad for the game. The weapons available in the game are continually being updated, and while I don't think we will ever see large balance changes towards sniping, we do see an ever-growing arsenal which brings updates to the way we play the game. Since the time I made that first loadout video, we've seen additions from both event and DLC weapons in the main game, some bad and some good. I'm of the mind that one or two of the weapons I recommended initially now have more suitable replacements, with utilities being consolidated. This frees up space for some purposeful variety. The Lost on Mars weapons will be available soon, and once I've had time to do some testing, I'll be putting together a video covering changes to the first lineup that I hope will be helpful to anyone interested. Be sure to check back for that, and in the meantime, I would love to hear from y'all about what other type of content you'd like to see, whether it be the same kind of analysis for different games or a completely different format or series. I would honestly love to know what you think, but remember to play nice with everybody in the comments section. As always, thank you so much for watching, and take it easy till next time.